WaterWise Wednesday is a project of the Eagle River Watershed Council. This monthly forum focuses on water issues affecting our community. Filming of WaterWise Wednesdays is underwritten by the Eagle River Water and Sanitation District, who reminds you to use water wisely.
This WaterWise Wednesday is all about local students and the monitoring and work that they've done and studies they've done on the local rivers. So we have we actually have 4 students with us here today. We have Esme Cruz, Kara Creedy, George Juflis, and then later we're going to have Brett Ferraro giving a presentation on stuff he's done. So these 3 are going to present as a group, then Brett will present next. So without further ado, one thing I wanted to, I go around and present to various classrooms here, so just to kind of illustrate why we think it's important for them to study the water, this would represent all the salt water in the world. So if you reduced all the salt water down to a ratio, this would be all the salt water in the world. And by comparison, this would be all the fresh water in the world. So as you can see, there's much, much less. And then on top of that, this is how much fresh water is actually accessible and usable to for human use and human consumption. So it's not a whole lot of water, so it just illustrates how important it is that we have adults that measure and monitor and improve the quality of our waters, and then we have children that learn, or young youth that learn how to do that as well. So without further ado, I'll give it away to the Berry Creek Middle School group. Round of applause for them.
Okay, so today we're going to show you our PowerPoint that we made based off our research and conclusions. What we did is we went to a river site, fairly small creek, and we did different comparisons on the creek, such as pH, acidity, temperature, and speed, and other things like that.
Our question, we had a question to see if it was right or wrong. So our question was, and our hypothesis was that we thought that there would be more species richness in a pool than in a riffle. A pool is just like really slow moving, wide part of the river, and a riffle is like kind of like a mini yeah, kind of like a waterfall or
fast moving stream.
Yeah, with all the rocks that make it look all white. And so, yeah.
We went to a riffle and we figured out the riffle had faster flowing water, and it was clear, and you could actually see it was white. It wasn't blue or dirty or brown. And they had really sharp, well, it wasn't really sharp, it was a lot of rocks. And we figured out the pool was slow, and it appeared to be cold, very cold, and muddy. And the area had most likely trees. And we also figured out that in the bottom, it was like settlement. So it was, when you shaked it, it got all brown again, really brown. And yeah.
Well, when we got there, we, like he said, studied all the stuff. And but mostly what we were focusing on was the animal richness. And so we kind of got a sample of the animals, and we counted how many animals there were and how many animals there were of every kind. And there were, and the animals we were studying were aquatic macro invertebrates. So in the riffle, we found 6 species, and in the pool, we found 6 species as well. But there were a lot more animals. But the total abundance, so the amount of animals there were more in the pool than in the riffle. So really our hypothesis hypothesis wasn't right or wrong because it was even. But if we would have done abundance, we would have been right. So we were close.
When in the year did you do this, or did you go more than one?
We did this for 2 days, but not like sleeping over there or anything.
Last week, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
We usually do it
This spring.
first part of May.
Okay.
So for some of our results, you can see that we made a little graph just to make it easier to see what differences there were. We had a lot more abundance than in the pool than the riffle, but when it came to richness, it was pretty even, pretty almost exactly the same. But
Help us understand the difference between richness and abundance.
Well, richness is how many species.
Different
Abundance
types of abundance
is
the
how many
number of
animals.
different, the
in-
number of species. So we neither did or not because we weren't right or wrong. And according to our data, well, we figured out that we found a lot of different animals in the pool that we didn't find in the riffle. Like one of the ones we found a lot were little like worms. They were small and red, really small, and we found those in the pool. And the riffle had more mayflies, beetles, yeah.
Did you find stoneflies in the
Yeah,
river?
stoneflies we found a lot of
We found a lot of nymphs.
Yeah,
The tiny little red worms were probably midge larvae. Does
yeah.
that sound familiar? Yeah.
We found a lot of nymphs and a lot of little tiny worms that made a bunch of figure eights.
Those are midge larvae.
Yeah, we found those in the pool, and in the riffle we just found a lot of mayflies, stoneflies, stuff. Yeah, it was fun looking at
We
the pictures.
found one snail and we felt really proud of ourselves.
Was that in the pool or the riffle?
And
That was in the riffle, I think.
Yeah, it was in the riffle.
And we found this larvae that looked a lot like a slug in the pool, but it wasn't.
Yeah, we tried to look for leeches, but we didn't find any single
No.
leech.
Luckily.
How did you get the bugs?
Oh, we
We
had
had this screen thing.
like a net. Really,
One
we had this
person-
net where
Two people had waders.
You hold the net. No, 2 people hold the net.
yeah, like this.
Someone
Freaks going
held
this
the
way.
net,
And the river's flowing this way,
George,
so we would get on the water with
someone-
waders.
and then the
They'd
other
hold
person
the
would
net
stop.
above.
And the net would be right here. So
Yeah.
then,
George, you kick.
So what someone would do is they'd hold the net below
for
where
30 seconds, and then we would lift up the net, and we would find a lot of creatures in a big tray. We would fill it up a little bit with water, and the creatures would be there, and with brushes, paintbrushes, and ice cube trays. We put some water there, and yeah.
and
With
we'd try
the
to separate
paintbrushes,
everything
they
out.
were curved.
And then
so
we had
they
kind
were
of
like-
like
Yeah, it was really easy.
and then we had sort of like a field identification guide to identify
Yeah.
the
We have pictures of
macroinvertebrates.
how to look.